It's February, and wow, we are right back into the full swing of school after the new year. And I don't know about you, but this is often the time of year when it's really easy to slip straight back into what I call the daily teacher drain, where you're showing up day after day, doing your best, but mostly just trying to get through the day and make it to the weekend. If that's you right now, you're not alone, and you're not doing anything wrong. What I see so often in classrooms this time of year is that this drain shows up as disengagement. And then that disengagement shows up as behavior. More off-task moments, more frustration, and more energy that's just being drained from you. But here's what I want you to hear today. There is a better way, an inspired classroom way, a way to get yourself re-inspired so that you can be inspiring to your students and actually enjoy teaching again, right? That's the point. In this episode, I'm going to take you into one part of my reset framework, one of the E's that stands for engagement. And I'm going to share a powerful story from a teacher who really leaned into this and saw a huge shift in her classroom and in her students, and even herself. And then I'll walk you through some simple engagement strategies that you can use right away. Strategies that bring your content to life and support some calmer behavior. So take a breath, settle in, and let's get started. Hey friends, welcome to Enjoy Teaching Again, the podcast for teachers who love the work but need a little spark to bring the joy back. I'm your host, Elizabeth Peterson, classroom teacher, arts integration specialist, and passionate educator of over 25 years. If you're overwhelmed by behaviors, disengaged students, and long, exhausting days, you are not alone. But together, we can turn things around and you can teach with confidence and purpose again. So locate that cold coffee of yours, find your favorite pen, I know you have one, and let's dive in. It's time to get inspired and enjoy teaching again.
I want to express my heartfelt thanks to Elizabeth for the incredible ideas she shares with the teachers she supports. I teach high school ELA outside the United States, where English is a second language, so motivating my advanced students who are native speakers and can easily pass the external exams can be quite challenging. Many of my advanced 11th graders preferred philosophical debates or even doing math homework during class instead of engaging with the actual text I was teaching. So I reached out to Elizabeth through her Classroom Reset program for help channeling their creativity and deep thinking right back into the text. She suggested a sock puppet project where students decorate a sock to represent a character from the novel's personality. I used it as our culminating activity right before midwinter break, and it completely transformed my classroom. We sat together on the floor surrounded by stickers, glitter, pom-poms, and yarn, and the girls became fully absorbed in bringing their characters to life. Students who up until now felt disconnected from the novel suddenly found themselves deeply engaged as they tried to capture each character's essence. Their puppets now sit proudly on a shelf in our classroom, and from then on out, the girls were completely absorbed in the text taught during class as they are now personally connected to the characters. Elizabeth's ideas don't just fill lesson plans, they transform classrooms. She helped me guide a group of bright, philosophical, yet unmotivated teens into meaningful and joyful learning. I'm so grateful for the inspiration she brings to teachers everywhere. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Isn't Rachel's story so great? I love that she really took the time to think about how she could truly engage her students because she was having some issues. Her challenges were that her students were disengaged. They were really struggling to buy into the book that she was reading with them, Animal Farm. Their motivation was low and the behaviors were starting to creep in. She didn't want to just keep pushing harder. She didn't want to kind of make them do the work. She didn't want to have to give them reminder after reminder of what they were supposed to be doing and how they were supposed to be participating. Instead, what Rachel decided to do was reach out for support. Now, Rachel is part of the Classroom Reset, my 6-month experience for teachers who are ready to take a good look at what they're doing and reset and refine parts of their teaching so that they can truly start to improve student behaviors and enjoy teaching again. And inside the program, she, as well as all the other teachers inside, can reach out for support with whatever they want. And then she and I went back and forth and we talked about all the different things that she's struggling with and how we can help her specific students using her specific content to really re-engage them. And with all the ideas that we were looking at, she loved going all in with the sock puppets. And what was the result? Well, you heard her herself. Students not only just bought in, they were fully participating. The energy was shifting, and it was shifting for her students and for herself. She was excited about teaching the themes. The students were excited about talking about the characters and really digging into character studies that were centered around the themes of Animal Farm. This wasn't just about puppets. It was about giving the students an outlet to process learning in a way that truly worked for them. Now, engagement is one of the steps inside my reset framework, and it can be small means of engagement or big, like what Rachel shared. And that's what we're going to dive into today. How to go about connecting some engagement into your content to bring it to life. And what you'll start to find is that doing so, bringing more engagement strategies into your classroom, will help with learning and improve student behavior. You see, engagement isn't about entertaining our kids, right? It's not about adding more work for yourself. And believe it or not, it's not about being the fun or the cool teacher. Instead, engagement actually can be used as a tool to help prevent certain things like off-task behavior. It can actually prevent power struggles, and it can prevent shutdown and refusal to work. What you may have found is that when students are really engaged, meaningfully engaged in what they're doing, they don't need as many reminders or corrections or redirections. Engagement can actually start to create calm. And the wonderful thing about engagement is that this is something we can actually reset in our classroom. Figuring out just the right creative engagement strategy for my class just makes me light up as a teacher. And my students do too. Like when I sing about how to do long division, when I share dance moves that illustrate where the sun is in relation to my body and how it casts a shadow. Getting 11-year-old boys to chant multiples of 4s while doing high knees? Yeah. Sign me up, right? So how do you come up with these ideas? Well, I'm going to get you started today. But you can also do what Rachel did and join the Classroom Reset, because inside I share so many engagement strategies using creativity, including creative challenges, how to use arts integration, and how to use play to engage your students. Plus, you'll get my one-on-one support where we can chat together about what will work for your particular students. Now, let's talk about how to figure out what kind of engagement is going to work for your class. One way to do this is to identify your class's personality. Now, I don't know about you, but over the years, I have noticed that classes have personalities. It definitely has something to do with the teacher, but also about the particular group of students that are grouped up together. And I've noticed personalities of classes, my own self-contained classrooms over the years, how every year it's like a different type of class that kind of forms. I've also noticed this with other teachers. Other teachers seem to have classes that tend to just kind of have a little bit of a personality. And I've noticed it when I was teaching music or teaching integrated arts last year, where every class that came into my room, multiple different classes a day, everyone had just a different feel to them, a different vibe. So something you can think about is kind of figuring out what your class's personality might be. Do they like a certain art form, like dance or visual art or music or drama? I remember one year I had a couple of students in my classroom who were doing theater work outside of school, and they brought such an energy of that and such an interest of that into the classroom that before I knew it, I had almost my entire class working towards creating this play on their own time, and then they wanted to perform it inside the class. But what was really cool was that I could utilize some forms of drama in the classroom to bring some of the content alive, which was really kind of fun. Maybe you have a class of students that like stories, or maybe they're super hands-on. Maybe they like to get up and move, or maybe they are the type of class that just tends to sit and listen. Whatever it is, feed into that. Another strategy is to start with your comfort zone, because your energy as the teacher truly, truly matters. For me, it's always been music. I often will sing about or have rhythms for what we're learning, and the kids feed off of that energy. It's like contagious. I will often, have a little ditty that I like to sing and chant while we're doing long division to help the students remember that, and it gets the entire class engaged with that. I also love to take out my drumsticks. Yes, I keep a set of drumsticks in my classroom so that I can tap out a rhythm. And I've been getting into this habit of taking out my sticks and tapping a rhythm to start our science class, just as a little way to get them engaged and ready to learn. So if you love music, maybe you can use rhythm or chants or songs to engage your classroom. If you like movement, try some gestures. Or even acting or tableau. If it feels natural to you, it will just naturally become part of what you do with your students. And that is going to be contagious. That energy that you bring is absolutely contagious. And what these types of strategies do is it gives students a place to put their energy, which is why behavior improves. So, for example, if you're chanting multiples in math with music and movement, then the students are focusing on that, focusing on their body moving, regulating their systems so that they can actually be ready to do even more learning once they're done. If you're acting out science concepts, well then students are able to internalize those concepts even more through their acting, all while using the energy that it takes to, think about what you're acting, how you're moving, what the science concept is and how you're portraying that. There's just so much energy that goes into that. That's what makes acting and singing and dancing so engaging. The last thing I want you to keep in mind here is that you can use strategies that are small and even repeatable. This doesn't have to be some overhaul of a lesson. It doesn't have to be some huge, elaborate project that you do to keep your students engaged in something. You don't have to do an entire arts integrated, project. Instead, consider one strategy or one moment inside the lesson. For example, let me give you one of my absolute favorite engagement strategies of all time, and that is Tableau. And with the right group of students, this can work so well. Tableau, if you don't already know, is where you ask your students to, in a small group, freeze in a pose that goes along with your content. So this is a natural, definitely an elegant fit with just about anything in social studies or ELA. If you're reading a selection in a text and you want to check their understanding of what's going on, you can have small groups of students actually make a tableau, make a frozen picture of a point in the scene. Maybe it's the climax of the story, or maybe it's what happens to make the initiating event in the story. And of course, you can also do this with various points in history. And again, it just helps the students to solidify their understanding of a concept. The idea here is that you're engaging your students, but you're also really getting them thinking from a different perspective, getting them thinking in a different way. It just is a great way to think about engagement. And if you actually find a strategy that really works for your students, the best part is you can use it again and again. Now, here's the thing. If you try a strategy and it's a little rough the first time, that is okay. That doesn't mean it didn't work. Maybe you just need to try it again. And like I've said before, if you start to find something that really works with your class because it's fitting their personality, or starting to really discover what kind of things they like to do for engagement, then do it again and again. When you start to think about engagement in your classroom this way, this is what leads to better behavior, because you're giving students a real way to use their energy. And that doesn't mean you need to throw out your curriculum or throw out your lesson plans. All you need is that one elegant fit that works for your students, for your energy, for their energy, for your content area. So this week, I want you to choose one lesson and one engagement strategy that will really help students to process their learning. Now, if you are really up for some back and forth with me, you can actually book a strategy session with me. I love coming up with ideas with teachers that really fit their group of students. Your content, we're going to look at, what your personality brings to the classroom, what your content is, who your students are. We're going to talk about everything inside this strategy call for you to be able to come up with some really great engagement strategies. If you're interested in doing a strategy session with me, I'll leave the link down in the show notes, okay? Truly, this is my favorite part of working with teachers inside the Classroom Reset. They can contact me anytime and do this type of work with me. So, if you're interested in actually joining the Classroom Reset, getting the entire reset framework that will guide you through all the steps to engagement, as well as creating a culture of care and supporting your students' SEL, go to theinspiredclassroom.com/reset. You will have access to the entire reset framework. You'll earn 1.5 CEUs and you'll get all the personalized support for the entire 6 months. So consider how you can up-level your engagement inside your classroom. All right, let's think about how we can do things the inspired classroom way so that you can truly enjoy teaching again. I hope this episode inspired you, encouraged you, or gave you a fresh idea to try. And if so, I would love for you to take a screenshot and text it to one of your teaching buddies. I'm so grateful that you landed here with me today, and it would mean the world to me if you would leave me a review over on Apple Podcast. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll catch you on the next episode. This is Elizabeth Peterson reminding you to get inspired so you can be inspiring to your students and enjoy teaching again.